They can't open the lock unless they cut that. So, and then they're gonna have to make a lot of noise. I know this isn't gonna hold them from getting in. I mean, it's only baggy ties. And I know from this point, if they're cut, if they were here last night. This next day, take a look. They were here. Gate is still locked. This is where they were. It's cut. Bricks are moved. They were probably over here all night. Although I could see going all the way to that wall, I can't see over here. I have to make this side of the yard not very comfortable. Yeah, that water bottle is gone. That was in here. Okay, I laid it down. Again, they had to have done it after like 4:30 in the morning. If the gardeners were here, they would have cleaned that up. Look how nice. It's going to be a good crop on this tree too. Look how cute. Well, I'm pretty sure this is where they're sleeping over here. If I'm really, really quiet, you could hear it in the background. The neighbors on the other side of the fence left their hose in the yard. So the other side of the house is getting flooded. Also, the new owners came back, locked up the house, and changed the locks. And they also chained up the fence. And on my side, I put the cans down. I have the light. And we cut down the cactus from the front of the house, which I've wanted gone forever. And we put all the pads on the other side of the house. Now, I know they tried to get in earlier. We heard them. All you hear is the guy going, fa, fa. Well, you know what the word is. And he screamed. I don't think he's back there. My dog is out here with me, and he would have been alerted that there was somebody else. He's a yappy little chihuahua. So anybody that goes near me, he goes, rrr, 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 and he doesn't shut up. This is kind of funny. These people aren't very bright. They're like pigs, and they left the yard a mess. So when we cleaned it up, we found paperwork with their credit card number. Once the neighbors move in, it goes from, I believe the cops said it goes from trespassing, because that's basically all they're doing now is trespassing, to breaking and entering once the person is actually on the property and living there. I have to give this to the new people. Don't laugh. Check this out. Oh, it's 4:30 in the morning now, and I'm sitting on my porch. And guess what? The squatters are in the house behind me. 5:45 in the morning, the window is still wide open. It's been 3 days. No lights in the house. So now these people are living in the house behind me. And you may be saying to yourself, well, you see them in there. You know they're in there. Call the police. Well, you see, Karma is a bit of a witch. And I have to explain something about the house behind me. We've lived here for 15 years, and the owner of that house has never lived on the property. It's always been a rental. And through the years, they've had a lot of different people who have rented it. And they've been, for the most part, really nice people. I mean, we had some that have been downright really good friends with me. But the last renters were not exactly people that you wanted to live behind. And in fact, I had at one point thought that possibly it would affect my property value. The owner of that house decided they were going to rent out that house to a doctor And that doctor was doing drug rehab out of the house in the guise of a halfway house. Except I don't think the doctor had anything to do with the house. And what they did was they found street people. And they would say, come and get free rent and live in this halfway house and go through the program, etc., etc. Well, and then the Medicare or Medicaid or whatever would pay for it. The owners did not tell anybody in the neighborhood, and we would not have chosen to live next to a halfway house. Now, it wasn't even a halfway house. They said it was a halfway house, but it was not, because these people came to the house still on the drugs. They did not go through any sort of rehab to get off the to get off of them. And literally, they would pick them up off the street one day, and they'd be living at that house the next. And I don't think he hired anybody professional, because the house management knew like nothing. They would just get free rent. So, to say the least, there was a lot of problems with that house. Now, it wasn't that bad. Like, the people who came to that rehab, they were trying to get their lives together, but not all of them were successful. And some of them were a downright pain in the butt. So they had a few of them that would try to become friendly with me. They would ask me for everything from money to rides places. One asked me if I had a job for him. So it got to the point where I had to tell one of the house managements, there was many over the time, that part of them living there is to pretend we weren't here. And for the most part after that, it was okay. The only thing I had that I really did not like was the fact they had therapy sessions outside. And no matter what, I told them, I can hear you. You're not supposed to be doing therapy. It's HIPAA. The whole neighborhood can hear you. And I was very upfront about being able to hear everything. I would have to actually leave my yard because I didn't want to listen to the stories, So about 6 months into it, there was a big blow up at the house, and they shut it down. And the owners of the house didn't bother shutting it down properly, and they just abandoned the house. And they abandoned it so that they left their swimming pool open and shut the power off, so the pump did not work. Well, it was summer, it was hot, and what do you get with stagnant water? Mosquitoes. And we had to live with their mosquitoes and so not only did we have the drug addicts, we had to deal with their mess. And it's not like Las Vegas has a mosquito problem. We don't. It's the desert. There's just not that many mosquitoes in the desert. We get them, I would say, every once in a while in the spring when the rainy seasons come, but that's about it. Well, we had mosquitoes practically all summer, and coming off of this black watered pool and it was black so that basically it smelled, and we had to call the county to have them do something. So needless to say, we were happy that the drug addicts were out. 6 months after that, they brought them back with a new house manager. Now, the second staff was not bad. They kept the people away from us. Nobody tried to peep over the fence anymore, which they had been doing. The people just try to be friendly with us. They're sitting out in their backyard. They see me in my backyard or someone, and they just try to be nice and friendly. But I mean, they were there for so the second house management comes in, and we're like, okay. And apparently it didn't work out a second time. And what did they do? Well, the house management, in all their professionalism, threw a Halloween party that the likes you had never seen. It was on a Thursday. There were kids who had to go to school in the neighborhood. They blasted that music like you were downtown in a club. And I'm sorry, but there was drinking and drugging going on the whole night. We saw people with beer in their hand. I would say about 4:30 in the morning, I finally screamed over the fence to the house management that if they didn't cut it out, I was going to call the police. I didn't know that they were moving out the next day. And the next day they were all gone. And what did they do after that? They let the pool turn green again. I'm going to tell you this. They've got squatters now. And squatters have rights. That's why I was in such a panic over having them here. Squatters have rights. You can't evict them. And once they get into the house and they declare that home theirs, you got to take them to court. Or they could stay. Next door is one thing. They're on my site level. The fence is not that tall. You know, basically anybody can get over that fence. The one on the backyard is quite tall, so you have to have a little bit of something to get over it, and it takes a little bit more. It's probably about 10 feet. So I don't mind these people are now living in their house, because not my problem. I did warn the gardener today. I saw him, and I said, listen, just be careful. The gardener says he sees this all the time. He goes, just last week he was at a house that there were squatters too in there. So I have to admit, I don't care if they're in that house. God bless them. Karma is vindictive. They brought them. It's funny because they don't realize that I know that they're there. And they instead of turning the lights on at night, they use flashlights, which I think is kind of silly now. At this point, I mean, come on, I know you're there. But I guess they don't want the police called on them. I'm not going to call. They're not bothering me. So they've left the window open so that they can come and go. It's wide open. It's been open for 3 days. And the light's on upstairs you could see it in a closet. That's the only lights on in the house. But I recognize that woman from the video. She's the same woman that we confronted in the yard. So that's how I know it's definitely squatters. I didn't put her face into the video. I don't know, I didn't feel that was right. I mean, I could have, but I chose not to. So you want to know colors? I'm using Scarlet Lake, Mulberry, White, Indigo, and Crimson Red. And I'm going to use a little Posca to lighten that up. Tuscan Red, that's what I'm missing. I'm going to put you on hyperlapse, and I will see you in class 6. Take care.
I've got the world on top of me, weighing down so heavily, gonna fall eventually. There's no defying gravity, but you make me feel indestructible, indestructible. I was bulletproof, tired of making an excuse. I can bleed and I can bruise, but you make me feel indestructible, indestructible. Took a while
got to know what you want and where you want to go. That's what I heard, so I took the advice, knowing that there would be some sacrifice.